Okay, so something I get asked a lot on like my YouTube channel and in Discord, in the Ret Paladin Discord. Let me turn my TV off. Is like for a seal twisting guide and for like tips and tricks about like how to parse better as like a Ret Paladin. So I just figured like I'd make a video about Ret Paladin seal twisting and like how easy it is and some of the finer points and things like that. Um, Now like a lot of Ret Paladins right now still play like it's 2007 where they don't seal twist and they just do like really mediocre DPS and because of that like a lot of people are still under the impression that Ret Paladins don't do like a lot of damage. But when I play really well, the only people that really beat me in damage are like the hunters for now anyway in tier 4. So Ret Paladins are like a very like they're a top DPS class and anybody who doesn't think that just hasn't played with a really good Ret Paladin. So as you can see here, this is my friend Starforce from Bipolar. He plays with Alondo. Some of you guys might know Alondo. He's the top Ret Paladin in the world. He's by far the best. He's got some amazing stats on Warcraft logs, and he really does a good job of, excuse me, showing off like what Ret Paladins can do. I mean, this is like the best of the best. This is what Ret Paladins are capable of. Now, just quickly, something I wanted to say real quick is that seal twisting is like an art. It's not like it's not something you can do with like robotic precision and do perfectly every single time. It's just not possible. It's like it's very in depth and very, you know, complicated. Like it's easy to do, but it's hard to master. If that makes any sense. It's like it's a very high skill ceiling. Doing it at like average level is easy. Doing it at the top level is very hard. So, but something that, if that sounds intimidating, it's something to look forward to because the top is very high for a Ret Paladin. The sky's the limit, as they say, and you know, there's so far to go. You can always do something better, and I used to play a rogue, and rogue is I thought rogue was a lot of fun, but playing a Ret Paladin is a lot more fun than I ever had playing a rogue, and like pressing Sinister Strike and Slice and Dice and just those two buttons like over and over. Ret Paladin is like so much more than that. It's actually one of the harder rotations to master, up there with Arms Warrior and Feral Druid power shifting and things like that. So I just wanted to preface this video with that and say like Ret Paladins are very good. We're one of the top DPS classes in the game. We are a lot of people are still used to like Ret Paladins playing like it's 2007. And back in the day, like not a lot of people knew about seal twisting, even on like elitist jerks. The best of the best. Where they went, the website that they went to find out new information about their class. Even in their like Ret Paladin guide, they don't even talk about seal twisting at all. So although it did exist back in the day, it was a thing, and it was just very rare for anybody to do it. It was kind of unknown, and only the very best did it. I don't even think like top guilds like Nihilum and SK Gaming. I don't even think their Ret Paladins twisted. It was something that like only a handful of people in the entire world did. Now this is like a mechanic that Blizzard liked. They thought it was cool. They thought it added to the skill ceiling without breaking the class, and they brought it back. Um, Now the reason seal twisting worked back in the day is because of batching, and as you know, they've gotten rid of batching now with TBC Classic. So they decided to bring it back, and I'm so happy they did. Now this is different from the version of seal twisting that we saw on the beta, and I'll go into that a little bit later. It's a little bit different than the beta version, but that's okay. Because this version of seal twisting is bliss-like. This is exactly how it was in 2007. So it's accurate, and that's what's most important, right? So if you want to have parses like this, I'll give you some advice and run you through seal twisting and see if you guys can improve your damage at all. So let's get into it. Seal twisting is going back and forth between Seal of Blood and Seal of Command. These are the two seals that we use as the Ret Paladins to seal twist. Seal of Command we use rank 1. I forgot to write that down here, but we always use rank 1 Seal of Command because we never judge command. So it doesn't matter if it's rank 1, our damage is going to be the same. We're always going to judge blood, so that's just something to keep in mind. Now, seal twisting is when you change seals just before an auto attack lands, so it gives the auto attack the benefit of both of the seals that you had up. The seal that you had up before and the seal that you just changed into. Now, what we have now is called one-way twisting, which means that you can only twist from Seal of Command into any other seal. You can't twist from Command into Blood, and then on the next auto attack, twist from Blood back into Command. It doesn't work like that. That's called two-way twisting, and that's something that existed on the beta, but Blizzard was like not cool with that because it's not Blizz-like. It's not like it was in 2007. And it's just it's even more, it's like broken because you do like 200 to 250 more DPS than we're doing right now, which is already a lot. So I understand the change that they made and why they made it more Blizz-like. I mean, I'm cool with things being more Blizz-like. So now it does mean that we have to use more GCDs to be able to twist, but one of the more beautiful things about it is that we don't really have a haste cap anymore. When we had two-way twisting, there was some like weird things that would happen if you got too much haste, where it would mess up your rotation a bit, and we don't have that issue anymore, which is something I'm really thankful for because haste is like a really good stat for us. So now the timing window for a seal twist is like 0.4 seconds before your auto attack. So just before your auto attack goes off, you have 400 milliseconds or 0.4 seconds to change your seal so that your auto attack benefits from both seals. Now, what we would call a successful twist occurs when Seal of Command procs, causing extra damage. When Seal of Command procs, you actually get 4 attacks at once if you do it properly. You get an auto attack, you get a Seal of Blood, you get a Seal of Command, and then that Seal of Command gives you another blood, a second blood. So if you look at the tooltip of Seal of Command in the top right corner, it says gives the paladin a chance to deal additional holy damage. It's just a chance, and because of that, it doesn't always work. There's a proc rate, and something that people always ask me is I'm twisting perfectly, I'm doing it right, but it's not always working, and that's just because there's a proc rate, and if the Seal of Command doesn't proc, it doesn't work. It's just a normal attack with Seal of Blood up. So that's just something to know. So now the proc chance is actually determined by your weapon's swing speed. 3.8 has the highest proc rate with 44.3. Most people have a 3.6 weapon speed in PvE, like raids. So that's like a 42% proc rate. So that's like pretty much the figure to know. It's pretty rare that you'll ever have like a 3.7 or a 3.5 or a 3.4 speed weapon. So that's not really important to know. But if you have Wind Fury, Command can proc on the Wind Fury if it doesn't proc with the auto attack. So like Wind Fury obviously gives you an extra attack at the same time, but Command cannot proc on both. It can proc on one or the other, but it cannot proc on both. So because of that, if you have Wind Fury up, you're gonna get like a little bit higher chance for it to proc, because if it doesn't proc on the auto attack, it could still proc on the Wind Fury attack. But it can't proc on both because there is a 1 second internal cooldown, and this kind of prevents like a chain of command procs from procking off itself. Like they do the same thing with Wind Fury, so that like a Wind Fury can't proc another Wind Fury. It's just like a mechanism to protect from like events like that from happening. So pretty much all you need to know is that Wind Fury is going to help you get a higher chance. It's usually like 46 to 48% after you have Wind Fury applied. So we'll just go to the next slide. So your rotation is pretty simple. Let me take a drink here real quick. So you rotation's pretty simple. You're just gonna Crusader Strike. You're gonna do a filler GCD. You're gonna auto attack. You're gonna judge. You're gonna seal a command, and then you're gonna twist blood, and then you're gonna repeat. Your filler GCD is exorcism if it's a demon or an undead, and it's consecrate otherwise. Or if your exorcism is on cooldown, because it's like a 15-second cooldown, then you're gonna consecrate instead for that filler GCD. Now, I like to use rank 4 consecrate because it's like a good mix of like damage and mana efficiency. But if I have extra mana, I'll use rank 6. And if I'm getting towards the end of a boss fight, and I have a lot of mana left over, then I'll use rank 6. But if you use rank 6 the whole time, it can really drain your mana, so it's something to be cautious about. But if you have like a fight where you can use raid mechanics to give yourself more mana, like if you can stand in a cave-in on Gruul and get healed and get more mana back, then you might be able to use rank 6 more. So that's just something to think about. Now on the pull, you're not going to be able to go into your normal rotation like perfectly, because there's a specific way that you attack when you're pulling like a boss or a mob, that you start with Judging Crusader for the extra holy damage and for the 3% crit for their whole raid. Now you're going to do that from max range because you don't actually want to auto attack here. You want to save your auto attack for later. So you do it from max range just to prevent like the chance of your auto attack going off by accident. And then you use like a stop attack macro. So on my number 1 button, I have a stop attack macro. All it is just slash stop attack, and I judge Crusader and then I press that, so I make sure I don't attack. Excuse me. So you're gonna have a GCD from Crusader, then you're gonna put up Seal of Command. That's gonna give you another GCD, and then you're gonna use your Seal of Blood start attack macro to instantly twist. At this point you want to be in melee range. So you show the macro itself is you can put the show tooltip in if you want. It's just slash cast Seal of Blood slash start attack. That's all the macro is. And you're going to want to take this macro and you're going to want to replace it with your normal Seal of Blood. And just put it in the same exact spot that you would normally have Seal of Blood. Just replace it totally. It takes a little getting used to, like Judging Crusader and then Seal of Command and then Seal of Blood macro, but it's really not that big of a deal to you get the hang of it pretty quick. And this way, like as soon as you press your Seal of Blood macro, you're gonna twist. Well, you have a chance to twist. Now if you're Alliance, you're gonna want to use Seal of the Martyr instead of Seal of Blood. Obviously you don't have Seal of Blood, yours is called Seal of the Martyr. If I ever say Seal of Blood throughout the rest of this video, if you're Alliance, just remember in your head that it's actually called Seal of the Martyr for you. So, but they're the same thing. And now after this instant twist ability goes off, like after that first attack goes off, you're going to want to Crusader Strike, then Judge. You're going to have Blood up, so you're going to want to Judge Blood. Then you're going to cast Seal of Blood again because your auto attack is about to go off and you need to have a seal up for that. So you press Seal of Blood, then you're auto attacking, and then you're putting up Seal of Command, and then you're going to twist into Blood. And then after that, you just go into your normal rotation at the top. After that, you go into Crusader Strike, Filler, Auto, Judge, Seal of Command, Twist Blood, repeat. And that'll take you, till the end of the fight, pretty much. So that's basically your rotation. It doesn't really deviate much from that. Your Judge might come off cooldown, like right after your Crusader Strike. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later. It's not really the most mana efficient to Judge after Crusader Strike before your auto attack because you're going to have to put up another seal and you won't be able to do a filler. So we'll talk more about that though in the next couple slides. Crusader Strike. Now something I get asked a lot in my videos or in the Discord is, well, should I Crusader Strike? Shouldn't I twist more often than I Crusader Strike, because isn't twisting more damage? Actually, no, it's not. Now, in order to twist, you have to delay your Crusader Strike a little bit. So if you follow the rotation I just gave you, you'll notice that right when your Crusader Strike comes off cooldown, it's a 6-second cooldown. Right when it comes off cooldown, you're like in the middle of a twist, and you can't press it or else you won't be able to twist. Now, you just finish the twist anyway, and then you Crusader Strike a second or so later. Um, so there's a little bit of a delay. Now, as you gain more haste, the amount that you have to delay your Crusader Strike is actually decreased by the haste until it reaches 0. If you get to like a 3.0 weapon speed, your Crusader Strike delay will be pretty much 0. Now, this makes haste like even better for us because it's going to increase your Crusader Strike DPS. Not only is it going to mean you twist more often and attack more often, but it's also going to increase the damage you do from Crusader Strike because you're delaying it less, if that makes any sense. Now, on average, Crusader Strike does actually more damage than unattempted twist, even when you account for the armor, because Crusader Strike is mitigated by the boss's armor, and seals aren't. But even when you account for that armor, Crusader Strike still does more damage, because something you gotta understand is you're not comparing Crusader Strike to a successful twist. You're comparing it to an attempted twist. And since there's only like a 50-50 chance that your twist is actually going to go off, a Crusader Strike is it does more damage than half of a twist, if that makes sense. So you still want a Crusader Strike. Like, people always ask me like, well, shouldn't I wait to Crusader Strike during like Bloodlust because I want to twist more? And no, you shouldn't. If you want to do the most damage possible, you should not delay Crusader Strike. Because, like, what happens if you get bad RNG and your twists, they just don't go off? Or what happens if, like, you hold your Crusader Strike for, like, 4 auto attacks, and then you try to Crusader Strike, and let's say it gets dodged? What do you do then? Because then all the judgments on the boss just drop. And then your raid leader is mad at you for letting judgments drop. So I would not ever delay Crusader Strike more than you would have to twist. So now, something that's a little bit of a finer point is that seal damage is not normalized. If you know what normalization in WoW means, Crusader Strike is normalized. This means that like a slower weapon is better for seal twisting, but it's not necessarily better for Crusader Strike. I mean, it also depends on like the weapon DPS and attack power for seal twisting, but like the top end. So like if you look at like a weapon, if you look at the damage range, there's like a lower range of damage and then there's like a higher range of damage. The higher range is what we call like the top end, and the higher the top end is, the more damage it's going to do seal twisting. Now that's good for seal twisting, but not necessarily better for Crusader Strike. That's just really, it only depends on the weapon DPS and the attack power. Now this isn't really that important because like the progression of raid weapons for Ret Paladin is like pretty straightforward. Like you go from the blacksmithing weapons like Lionheart Champion, and then you get Twin Blade, then you get Torch of the Damned in tier 6, and then in Sunwell you get Shivering Fellspine, and then after you kill Jaden you get Apollyon the Soul Render. So because the weapon upgrade is like so straightforward, it's not really a big deal. It's not really something you need to like concern yourself with. Now, during full haste, like when you have Bloodlust up, Drums of Battle, Haste Potion, you're going to be twisting more often because Crusader Strike is not going to be off cooldown every other auto attack because if you can see above, it's a 6-second cooldown. So like when you have full haste, what you can do is you can actually switch to what we call like a triple rotation or a 2-3 rotation, which is you actually twist twice in a row back to back and then CS, then you Crusader Strike. So it's like twist, twist, CS, twist, twist, CS. And now also, you don't really want to be casting fillers when you're like fully hasted. Like, you know, if you have like Bloodlust and Drums of Battle and Haste Potion and stuff, you're not going to have time to cast filler spells. All you're going to have time to do is twist and CS. You're going to attack way too fast to cast any like consecrates or exorcisms or anything like that. You still want to judge because it's not on the global cooldown, but I didn't include that in the triple rotation because like it's pretty self-explanatory. Is you judge when you can. So this is something that you only really will be doing when you have haste potion up during Bloodlust. Um, Something that needs to be said is that when you get some haste on your gear, like later in the game, you're not going to be able to do this anymore because you're going to be attacking too fast to twist back to back. And that's okay. It's still going to give you higher DPS to have that haste on your gear. It's just that right now, when you don't have any haste on your gear, you can do this, and you should do it because it's like a DPS boost by a lot. Obviously, having haste on your gear is like still good outside of this little 15-second window, but during this like period, you don't want to have any extra haste. Like let's say you have Abacus of Violent Odds as your second trinket because it's the second best trinket in the game right now. You don't want to use that at the same time as Haste Potion and Bloodlust because it's going to make you attack too fast to do this. So what I typically do is let's say Bloodlust starts, I pop my Bloodlust Brooch, and I pop my wings, my Avenging Wrath, and then I push Haste Potion. Then I do this triple rotation, twist, twist, CS, twist, twist, CS, and then my haste pot drops, and then I go pop my Abacus, and then I do another triple rotation, twist, twist, CS, twist, twist, and then my Abacus drops, and then I'm back to normal speed, and I go back into my normal rotation. This is like only something you can do when you're attacking pretty fast, but not too fast. If that makes any sense, like you have to be in a very specific window of attack speed to do this properly. Because if you're attacking too slow, well, you're just going to want to twist CS. But if you're attacking too fast, you don't have enough time to have 2 global cooldowns every auto attack to twist. So it's like a tricky little balance. And at the end of the video and also in the description, I'm going to have like a WeakAura that you can use that will tell you like your weapon speed, your swing speed, and you can keep track of that yourself, and you can say to yourself like, oh, I'm attacking too fast to do this, or I'm attacking too slow to do this. So you can like kind of keep track of that in real time. So, but this is like a good way to increase your DPS right now during like your little haste pot window. So that's that's like one of the finer points of like you want to do really really well as a Ret Paladin. Like you're gonna have to do that to get like the #1 Parse. So something that I also get asked a lot is what the stat priority is and like other things about raid, and I'm just gonna do some basics. Obviously, like you should consult the spreadsheet, and I'm gonna give you that in the description of the video, but like that's gonna give you the most accurate information. This is just kind of like a basic rundown. So hit is the most valuable stat until you hit the hit cap. I mean, it's even more valuable than expertise if you're not hit capped. And the hit cap is 9%. Now you get 3% from talents, so that brings you down to 6%. So you can either get 6% from your gear, or you can get 3% from your gear and 3% from a balanced druid. Improved fairy fire gives you 3%. So you either need 3% or 6% on your gear depending on your raid situation. That is the best stat until you hit cap. Now expertise is like the next best thing. It's like very very close. The thing about hit and expertise is our seal twists they roll 4 times against the avoidance checks. This means that like every single attack, every time you twist, there's 4 possible attacks. Now every single one of those can be dodged or it can miss if you're not hit capped. So if the white auto attack gets dodged, then none of the other attacks will go off. If the white auto attack goes off, but the seal of command gets dodged, then you're only going to have a white auto attack and a seal of blood. your Seal of Command and your second blood are not gonna show up at all. And if you're in any of those Seal of Blood procs too can also get dodged. So there's 4 attacks and they're all getting rolled against the dodge or the miss table, which makes expertise like very valuable to us, and being hit capped is like very, very important. So those are like the 2 biggest stats. They're pretty close to each other. Crit is pretty valuable until 30 to 31% because it helps you stack your vengeance up faster. You definitely need to have like 3 stacks of vengeance up before you pop all your cooldowns. So after you hit that like 30 to 31% unbuffed, it becomes like less of a priority. And after you hit that amount, you can like just red gem full strength. But until you hit that amount, you should just use like orange crit and strength gems. Now we only need 25 agility for 1% crit, so that makes it like a really good stat to use to increase our crit. If there's like an item that you might get that has like a lot of agility on it, that can be like really good for us because we have one of the best ratios of agility to crit. Now our third best stat is haste. Haste lets us twist more often, and it reduces the cooldown of our Crusader Strike. So we're pretty big on haste over at the Ret Paladin Discord. Strength is really good too. We get really good like strength scaling. Like every strength that we get is 2.42 attack power per strength. So that's like better than any other class. So that's really good. And then after strength you have crit. Excuse me. After crit you have agility, then you have attack power. And this is all point for point, by the way. Then you have spell power. Then you have armor penetration. Now, I guess I should probably say this. Armor penetration is not very good for us because none of our seals are mitigated by armor. Now, even spell power is better than armor penetration point for point. Now, obviously, you get more armor penetration on like a piece of gear than you do spell power. So it can be like a decent secondary stat, but it's not a good primary stat. You don't really want to stack armor penetration as like your main stat. You don't want to try to get as much as you can because it's just not that good for us. It only affects our white melee hits and our Crusader Strikes. It doesn't affect any of our seal damage, so you don't want it. Like, you don't want a whole lot of it. The stats you really should focus on are, expertise, haste, and strength, and crit. Now, this is just like a basic overview. If you really want to get the best like knowledge about what you should use the spreadsheet that I'm going to give you in the description. It's just going to give you like a more accurate information on like what is best for you. Now, raid composition is also something that I get asked about a couple, here and there. Like the composition of your raid is really important, and if you don't have a good raid comp, you're just not going to do well, and it's just how it is. If your raid does not do well, you're not going to do well. It doesn't matter how good you play. So now in your raid, you're definitely going to want a survival hunter. You're going to want a balanced druid. You're going to want a warlock for curse or recklessness. You're going to want a BM hunter that has improved hunter's mark. In your group, you're going to want some sort of warrior for battle shout. You're going to want an enhancement shaman for totems and for unleashed rage. You're going to want a rogue for improved exposed armor. And the arms warrior you want to have somewhere in the raid because they give blood frenzy, which is it's like a 4% physical damage boost to all physical DPS. So that's like a really good raid buff to have. But they don't have to be in your group for that. It's just nice to have them in there for battle shout. So now BM hunters and feral druids are also like a nice boost to your group, or they can be, but they really should be in the hunter group. If you want your raid to do the most raid DPS possible, they should be in the hunter group. My group is typically a fury warrior, an arms warrior, an enhancement shaman, a rogue, and then me and myself. So that's just pretty basic. So a couple tips and tricks for ya. Engineering is big. It's really big. It's like if you want to do very well in the logs, you need engineering. Super sapper. It's really good. Goblin sapper. They're both affected by avenging wrath. So You pop wings, you pop up a super sapper if it hits multiple targets. Like today, I used a super sapper on HKM, Hiking Malgar, and it did almost 7,000 damage because I had wings up. So that's like, very, very good. Gnomish Battle Chicken is also very good. Make sure you select Gnomish Engineering for that. When it procs, it can give you 5% haste, and it can stack. So if everybody in your group has a Battle Chicken out, you can have potentially 5 stacks. So 25% haste. That's pretty crazy. It also lasts like 4 minutes. So that is like really, really strong. If your Battle Chicken procs, that's going to do more damage than any other profession there is. That's better than any other profession. So, even leatherworking. I mean, leatherworking, it's good to have a leatherworker in your group for drums, but Gnomish Battle Chicken provides more. So, Blood Elves, make sure you use Mana Tap as best you can. It's free mana, so why not use it? Try to get 3 stacks before the boss. Pop it on the boss, get some free mana back. Haste potions are a lot better than mana potions. If you absolutely have to use mana potions, maybe try using like a Fel mana potion instead. It gives you more mana back. It's like 3,200 mana, but it does like reduce your spell damage. And it stacks, like the more you use Fel mana potions, the more stacks of the spell damage reduction you get. But that doesn't really matter if you have 0 spell damage. Now, if you have improved Divine Spirit in your raid, or Dark Moon card Crusade in your trinket slot, then you do have a little bit of spell damage, and it will reduce your DPS. So I wouldn't do this if you have one of those 2 things, but haste potions are just much better overall, so you should try everything in your ability to use haste potions and not mana potions. You got to use dark runes or demonic runes, get that free mana. You gotta use raid mechanics to your advantage. Like you can take some damage, like stand in like a fire or some cave in, take a few ticks, and then get healed back to full health, and that's going to give you extra mana back. So that can be like a really good way to get a lot of mana back and do a lot more damage. Now, along with the rotation I showed you earlier, delaying judgment until you're like about to set up a twist is more mana efficient. So sometimes what happens is that your judgment comes off cooldown like right after your Crusader Strike, and like right after you use Crusader Strike, your judgment comes off cooldown. And the problem with using it right there is that if you use it there, you're gonna have to put Seal of Blood back up for the auto attack, and then you won't have time to cast like a filler spell like Consecrate, and then you're gonna have to cast Seal of Command again anyway, without judging first. So it's like a less mana efficient way to use your judgment. So delaying your judgment is actually like a good thing. You don't really want to just use judgment whenever you have it available, because it's gonna drain your mana a lot if you do it like that. So use that GCD to cast a filler spell instead. Of course, any Ret Paladin that twists will tell you this. Be very, very careful about your initial aggro. Doing the instant twist that we talked about earlier can just get you killed instantly from over aggro, so be very careful about that. Make sure all of the other paladins in the raid are judging something. Make sure the Holy Paladin or the Prot Paladin puts up Wisdom, because you need that mana back. Make sure somebody puts up Light or even Justice. It doesn't matter. They need to be judging something. And this is pretty much like also the order of priority. You want to have Wisdom and then Light and then Justice if you have an extra Paladin. The reason for this is that when you attack the boss, you have a chance to get mana back from Seal of Wisdom or Judgment of Wisdom, right? Now, if there's multiple judgments on the boss, you actually have more chances at getting Wisdom to proc. Like, you can get 3 or 4 Wisdom procs on a single attack if there's 3 or 4 judgments on the boss. Every judgment on the boss is another chance for wisdom to give you mana per attack. So talk to your holy paladins, talk to your prot paladins, make sure they are judging something. Make sure you get your group to use the jewel crafting party buff necks, like braided eternium chain. One person puts this on and they use it, and it gives the whole party like a bunch of crit, and it's like a big boost to the raid DPS. Every group has like necks they can use, and caster groups, they have 2 necks they can use, and it's like a big damage increase. It's really, really good to have. Increase your overall raid performance. Now, just one last thing I wanted to say. One sec, let me take a drink. Alright, one last thing I want to say is that steel twisting isn't like an art. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. It's not something you're going to be perfect at, ever. It's something you're going to continue to improve at for a long time. You're never going to do it perfectly with robotic precision. You might get like one fight like that, but you're not going to do it all the time perfectly. So don't beat yourself up about it. It takes time to learn. Like if you can look at some of these Ret Paladins out there, the best in the world. Like look at the real Blazed. That's a guy I talk to a lot. Blazed is a really good guy. He's done a lot of work for Ret Paladins, and I mean look at him. He's a top Ret Paladin in the world, undoubtedly one of the best. And it's not like he is perfect. It's not like he is doing it with robotic precision, never missing a twist, never missing a filler. There's always room for improvement. And I don't say this because it's like, I don't mean to, make you under this impression that like all Ret Paladins are bad or something, or nobody's really good at it. What I'm saying to you is that don't beat yourself up if you're not great at it at the start. Everybody's had to learn and get better at it, and nobody's perfect, because honestly, to play perfectly as a Ret Paladin is like extremely hard. So, if all you do is seal twist normally and don't even cast a filler spell, if all you do is seal twist and Crusader Strike and judge, you're still going to be better than 90% of the Ret Paladins out there, because those Ret Paladins are not even seal twisting. And people, I'm serious when I say this. A lot of Ret Paladins are not seal twisting. Like if you go to the Warcraft logs and you look at the halfway point, like at 50%, 50th percentile for Ret Paladins, and then you look at like 95%, the difference is more than any other class by far, because the average Ret Paladin is not seal twisting. And it's pretty sad actually, because I think that a lot of people are under this mistaken impression that Ret Paladins are bad, that they don't do a lot of damage, because they probably haven't ever played with a good one. So, Ret Paladins are pretty in high demand right now. If a guild is good, they really want a good Ret Paladin that seal twists, because they know how good it is. It helps everybody else in the raid do damage, because you're giving them a pally buff, you're giving them improved Seal of the Crusader, you're giving them Sanctity Aura. They're gonna want you. So play well, seal twist, and then you will have tons of guilds that will take you. All these good guilds that don't have a Ret Pally will take you the second they find out that you seal twist. So that being said, I guess let's move on. So here's some resources for Ret Paladins to use. Now, I'll go over these with you. So the first one is Baranor's spreadsheet. This is like the Ret Paladin spreadsheet. That is, I mean, it's not like 100% perfect, but it's really good, and it's the best thing we have right now, because it is so hard to make a spreadsheet that works well with Ret Paladins and the rotations that they use. So I gotta give Baranor, he also goes by Pride. I gotta give him a lot of respect for making this spreadsheet, because I know it took him a lot of work, and I gotta say it's great. It's great. Now there's two things in the spreadsheet that you're going to want to know how to use. There is a spot called twist ratio, and there is another spot right below it called twist spell delay. The twist ratio is how many attacks you are attempting to twist. This should either be 50% to 55%. The longer the fight, the lower. So if it's a really long fight, then you maybe just use 50 or 51. If it's a really short fight, then you use 55. Sometimes if the fight is really short, it can get as high as 60. But I mean, that's kind of a niche scenario. So now your twist spell delay is this is like the delay on your Crusader Strike when you're twisting, because you can't Crusader Strike right away when it comes off cooldown. Now this is going to depend on like your fight length and the amount of haste procs you have, because it doesn't adjust like dynamically. You just want to take the average. So I've given you like here like a good rule of thumb for what to put in here. And in just a sec, I'll like pull up the spreadsheet and I'll show you guys. But a good rule of thumb is like, and this is with like one Bloodlust, Haste Potion, Abacus, and Mongoose enchant, is like a 30 to 60 second fight. You want to type in 0.4 to 0.7. And then like depending on the fight length, you can change the twist spell delay. The longer it is, the higher the delay. But it shouldn't really ever go higher than like 1.1 or 1.2, if that makes sense. So now there's another good rotation, or resource called Rotation Builder by Smeet. Actually, you know what? Let me just pull these up for you right now, and we'll just go through them. Okay? So I'll just go through these resources one by one. That way, it's just fresher in your mind. So the first one is Baranor's spreadsheet. So you'll have to make a copy of it, and I have my copy of it right here. So you put your gear in, you put your gems in, just pretty straightforward like any other spreadsheet. You put your talents in, you put your raid buffs in, your consumables, you put those in, you put your enemy type, your boss armor, high armor, low armor, your race, your faction, boss fight duration. 180 is 3 minutes. I pretty much keep it at 3 minutes all the time. And then over here is what I was talking about earlier. You have your twist ratio and your twist spell delay. Now for a 3-minute fight, I use 0.88. As you can see here, 180 plus, I use 0.88 to 1.1. So I have 0.88 in there, and then I like to keep my twist ratio at 53 to 55%. And then this will give you, over here you have your DPS. And here you have all your spells. Like, you can turn on or off any of these spells. Like if you turn on Consecration, obviously your DPS is going to go up. You can turn on Exorcism, your DPS is going to go up. But if you use these both together, you're going to get some wonky results. So I suggest like just picking one or the other. I usually stick with Consecrate rank 4. And then there you go, man. Like that's all there is to it. Find out your DPS, how it's broken down, your stat weights, like what's the best stat per, like how many DPS you're going to get per point of that stat. Pretty basic, right? It's very easy to use. Head over there, make a copy of the spreadsheet, use it, plug your gear in, and figure out what gear is best for you in your own personal situation. So now the next resource I want to talk about is the Rotation Builder by Smeet. Smeet's a really good guy. He's also like really active in the Ret Paladin Discord. And here I have the Rotation Builder. So basically this is just like it builds a rotation for you. Now there is an option over here called Filler Judgments. And I just don't ever turn that on because it bugs out. Whenever you turn that on, it bugs out. And props to Smeet because he put a lot of work into this thing, and I'm a big fan of it. Now over here on this tab, you can find out how valuable haste is for you depending on what your weapon speed is right now. Like if you're at 3.6 right now and you gain 0.1 speed, then you're going to gain 81 DPS. So you can see how like haste becomes like more and less valuable depending on how much you already have. Something that's really good to know. You can also like plug in like how much damage you do per CS, how much damage you do per seal of command, and you can plug all this stuff in, and then you can find out like how much DPS you're doing throughout your rotation. But I mostly use this just to like look at my current rotation and make sure it's lining up with what it should be. So like you can program this to go as far as you want, and it'll build a rotation for you as long as you want it to go. So I recommend using this if you're into like a little bit more of the top tier, like theory crafting your rotation and things like that. But for the most part, you're going to want to stick to the rotation that I listed for you right here. So now, a couple WeakAuras for you. People ask me for these all the time. I'm going to put them in the description for you, but the first one is the Seal Twisting WeakAura by Giffen. That's this one right here. Basically, it's just like it's the thing in the middle of my screen that right here. It tells me what seal I have up, and it shows all my cooldowns and things like that. So now to use this WeakAura, the red bar right here, you can see that red bar. That's the last moment that you can press Seal of Command for a twist. And then once you have Seal of Command up, that white bar, after this white bar, you can press Seal of Blood to twist. So it's really all there is to it. It's very, very easy to use. So I recommend everybody get this WeakAura. It's going to be in the description. And then the last one that I have for you is a Swing Speed WeakAura, which all it does is tell you your swing speed. So it's going to say 3.6. If you pop a haste pot, it's going to drop down to like 3.1 or whatever. And it updates. It does not update every frame because that kind of lags you out a little bit. What it does is it updates every time your mana changes. So anytime you cast a spell, anytime your mana ticks up, it's going to update. And that's just to prevent it from like lagging you out. So this is one that I made myself. So, you know, if you want to give me some credit for that, that'd be awesome. I'm just kidding. It's very, very simple to make. So, but these will be in the description of my video. So if you guys need those, and I have yeah, right here. This is the WeakAura I'm talking about. It just tells you your current swing speed. That's all it is. Current swing speed. Okay. All right. So last thing I want to go through is I just want to show you the rotations. I'm going to show you like a normal rotation, and then I'm going to show you the triple rotation. It's pretty simple, but it definitely helps to have like a visual, like you can see it in front of you. So I'm just going to rewind here to the silence, and then we'll go from there. One sec. Okay, so this is a gruel. This is my gruel from today. I did really well, but it wasn't the best kill because we had a couple deaths. So, but I wanted to show you just for an example of how my rotation works. I'll just play it. I do get silenced here.
That's right. Okay. I'll do hateful.
So gruel silence goes off, and then I wanted to show you like how I start my rotation after the silence because that's like a good place to start. So silence ends. I judge. And you see where I'm at in my swing, right? I have time to twist because I haven't hit that red bar here yet. So I put up Seal of Command, and then once I get to the white bar, I press Seal of Blood. Now over here on the right hand corner, you can see everything that I'm doing. These are like the last things that I did. You can see that I judged, and then I put up Seal of Command, and then I put up Blood. So if you need to follow that as a visual aid, that might help you. So I just twisted, it didn't go off. Then I Crusader Strike, I Consecrate, I Judge. I didn't have time to judge because, as you can see, I would normally judge here, but I judged like right after the silence. So I didn't have time to actually judge. Yeah, CS. Okay, so now we're twisting again. We're gonna haste pot CS, consecrate normally. Let me go to another part of this video and show you when my haste pot's not up. Okay, here we go. Bloodlust is ending, so here we go. Twist, CS, consecrate, judge, command. I would normally command there, but I just didn't twist because I didn't think I had enough leeway, so I just waited an auto to twist. And now I'm starting it with command again. I twist. Twist again because my CS wasn't off cooldown. CS, judge, etc. So let me show you triple rotation and what a triple rotation looks like. Now you can notice that I real quick before we leave the scroll video, you can notice that I didn't do it perfectly. Sometimes I'm judging when I shouldn't be, and sometimes I'm, not using my filler global cooldown. And you know what? That's just like that's how it is, man. You play a Ret Paladin, and you're not gonna do everything perfectly. There's so much to it. There's so many different variables and different orders you could be doing things in, and you just gotta try to improve and do it better every week. Don't compare yourself to other Ret Paladins. Compare yourself to yourself, and just try to improve on your own DPS every week. So, yeah, I mean, this is the basic rotation. You twist, you CS, you consecrate, judge, silence, so I can't judge. Then you go back into a twist. Twist, CS, twist, CS, twist, and then I'm attacking too fast to CS because I have haste pot up. But you get what I'm saying. It's like you twist, and then the next auto you CS, and then the next auto you twist, and the next auto you CS, and you try to sprinkle judgments and consecrates in as best you can, right? CS. Okay, let's go to after the shatter. Insta twist here doesn't work. CS, consecrate, judge, seal command, twist blood, CS. Don't have consecrate up, so I just hold it. I should have twisted there, but I was a little jarred from not having consecrate up. So, I mean, it's as simple as it gets. There's a flow to it, and you do it as best as you can within that flow, and you try to do the best thing possible at that exact moment. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't, but over time you get better and better. So let's watch like a triple rotation, and I'll show you what I mean by a triple rotation. So this is Shade of Aran. This is when I got number 2 in the world on this fight. Now, Shade of Aran is pretty short. It's a Kara fight, and what you'll notice is that a lot of the fight I have Bloodlust. Most of the fight I have Bloodlust. So what I get to do here is a triple rotation. So first time around I'll just let you watch it, and then second time around I'll explain.
Fuck. I have chicken on.
Flamery.
What's lust?
Stop moving.
Conflict? Toe? Thank you.
Blizzard.
Elementals are out.
Okay.
I didn't get help.
Just make sure my audio is on. Okay, we're back. So the rest of the fight is Bloodlust fell off, so it's not really important to see the rest of the fight. So
Like
I think it's kind of funny. I still have my spreadsheet up in the bottom corner. But anyway,
attention get left.
so you'll notice that I'm twisting a lot more because I have haste pot up, I have Bloodlust up, I have drums up, so I have to twist more often. So what I do here is I judge Crusader, I put up Seal of Command. See, I put up Seal of Crusader, I judged, I put up Seal of Command, and then when Seal of the Command and GCD is over, I press Seal of Blood, and I instant twist. Now it doesn't go off, but that's fine.
What's lost?
So now CS, I judge CS, I'm setting up my rotation here. I wings, haste pot, now I'm going to start twisting. Seal of Command, twist, twist. See this? Twist once, twist twice, now I CS. Now I twist once, now I twist twice, and now I CS. Now this is exactly what I mean by a triple rotation. You're going to go twist, twist, CS, twist, twist, CS. It's a little bit hard to get used to. The timing, the window is very tight, and you can see I have a battle chicken squawk up here. So this proves that it can be done with a battle chicken squawk, but if you have a little bit more haste than that, you might not be able to do it anymore. So that's something to be aware of for sure. So you know, if you have one battle chicken squawk up, you might still be able to do your triple rotation, but if you have two, you're definitely not going to be able to anymore. You're going to be going too fast to do it. So I'll just give you a little, show you one more time. So I start, I'm setting up my rotation.
What's lost?
I wait for Lust, get my Vengeance stacks. I get ready to start twisting. I use Crusader Strike, and now I start popping my haste pot and twisting. Twist. Crusader Strike, twist. Twist. Crusader Strike, twist. Twist. And another Crusader Strike. So that's all there is to it. That is the triple rotation. That's what it looks like. And that is the most damage you can possibly do during haste pot. During all of your haste cooldowns, Bloodlust, haste pot, drums, battle chicken squawk. That is the best damage you can get during that period of full haste. I call it full haste. Now outside of that, you should be doing your normal rotation. When you don't have any of that haste stuff up anymore, you want to go back to your normal rotation where you just, you know, twist, CS, consecrate, twist, CS, consecrate, and then you judge, twist, CS, consecrate, and then you twist. Well, you would judge too. I forgot to judge there, but you get the point. So that's really all there is to it. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was informative, and I hope it maybe helped you, you know, do more damage as a Ret Paladin. I really want all the Ret Paladins out there to do the most damage they possibly can. So if you guys have any questions, you know, go ahead, feel free to hit me up in the comments, or you know, if you like this video and you think it helped you, then please like it and subscribe and leave a comment saying you liked it, and I'll try to make more videos like this in the future about how to do really good damage as a Ret Paladin. I appreciate it. You know, this has been a long video. My voice is starting to go out. I really wanted to be very in depth with this guide because I get a lot of questions about this kind of stuff. So I wanted to make sure I covered everything. And if you stuck with me and you watched the whole thing and you made it to this point, God bless you. Because it couldn't have been easy unless you're like really into this stuff. So thanks again. I appreciate you guys, you know, supporting the channel. I've been getting a lot more views and subscribers lately, so it's always a pleasure, you know, having like a community of people that, you know, watch me play the game. I love playing this game. It's my favorite game out there, and now that I'm playing a Ret Paladin, I want to be the very best. You know, I want to be one of the top Ret Paladins in the world, and I'm glad to have you guys, you know, with me for that. So once again, thanks guys, appreciate it. So I'll cut the video there, and we'll see what you guys think. Thanks.